One of the fun parts about going to car shows is sometimes seeing a brand that you've never seen before. Hi, it's Bud Wilkinson. Today it's a story about an economy model that was made in Germany in the 1960s. It was a pint-sized two-seat coupe called the Sport Prinz, built by NSU, that was on display. The model lasted from the late 1950s to the late 1960s.
I saw a picture of this poor, battered little shell of a car, and there was just something so charming about it.
Bill O'Leary of Shelton, Connecticut, bought his 1960 NSU Sport Prinz about 8 years ago and has spent most of that time restoring it. He found it in a nearby town, and its then owner wanted to be rid of it.
He liked little cars, and he always restored them. To restore them, he always bought them in twos. So he'd have the car he was working on and a parts car. This was the parts car. He had already sold the good one, and it was a battered little shell. And I really just bought it because I wanted to get better at doing my metalworking and body work. I've restored cars before, but when it came to that kind of work, I always had to vend it out, and I wanted to do it myself. So I did. I basically got the shell into good straight shape, and then you're like in for a penny, in for a pound. You just keep going. The hardest part was finding parts for it. It took me years to scrounge up parts from all over the world for this thing. Some of them I had to make myself. You just can't get them.
The name NSU isn't well known in the United States, and its cars were only sold here on a limited basis.
NSU was actually more known for making motorcycles. In fact, at one point, they were the largest motorcycle manufacturer in the world. They had dabbled with automobiles just as the Depression started, and so they abandoned that and stuck to their motorcycles. And of course, they were pressed into wartime production in Germany. Post-war, there was a need for basic people mover transportation in Germany, but they were really shy on resources and funding, fuel, steel. So what you had the emergence of a variety of little cars they called microcars or bubble cars. Some people may have heard of like a Messerschmitt or a BMW Isetta or a Henkel, weird little cars. As the 50s progressed towards the 60s, NSU had a little boxy sedan, but they wanted to introduce something with a little more pizzazz. So they actually commissioned a famous designer at the studio Bertoni in Italy. His name was Franco Scaglione. He did a number of notable Alfa Romeo designs, but he designed this, so he added a little bit of style finally. So when it debuted at the Frankfurt Motor Show in the late 50s, it was a big, big hit. But if you look under the covers, it's pretty much a motorcycle. And the engine is a two-cylinder, four-stroke, but a two-cylinder. It's only 583 cc's, 30 horsepower. So it's not exactly neck-snapping acceleration, but the car only weighs about 1,200 pounds, so it'll get you around.
Only about 20,000 examples of the model were built. O'Leary's has only been on the road for a year or so. It gets a response, such as when he took it to the Boothe Memorial Park and Museum Antique Car Show in Stratford on May 18th.
People are intrigued, number one, because of the diminutive size, but also, the Germans, if nothing else, they're famous for their innovations, and when you look at the engine, there are some really innovative aspects to it to help make it very compact, cheap to build, and therefore affordable in post-war. Post-war Germany was pretty strapped.
The NSU Sport Prinz does have a Hollywood connection, having been used in a screwball rom-com movie.
Can't attest to it, and it's probably not true, but one thing that intrigued me about this, when I was taking paint off of it, I found that somewhere along the line it had been painted a real nice gloss yellow, and somebody had put an aftermarket sunroof in it, which is unusual. Lo and behold, in the 1950s, there was a cheesy Rock Hudson, Paula Prentice movie called Man's Favorite Sport, and in it, Paula Prentice is driving one of these, which is unusual, and it's yellow with an aftermarket sunroof. So could it be? Who knows?
It's possible. Man's Favorite Sport wasn't released in the 1950s. It actually came out in 1964. In Stratford, Connecticut, for Ride Connecticut, I'm Bud Wilkinson.